my stick stay.
What's going on YouTube? You already know who it is, man. It's your boy Fly Chance, and I'm back here with another video. And in this video, I'm pretty much gonna be breaking down and showing y'all the NBA 2K article that dropped today. Pretty much just telling us about some of the updates that they put in this year's game. And I'm gonna just break it down to y'all and give y'all my feelings about it as we go along. So let's get it started. I realize that this looks a little wordy to y'all. I just put it there so that if y'all wanted to pause and read the whole thing, you can read the whole thing. But pretty much this is the beginning of the article, and they were talking about their new and improved motion engine. So what they were saying is that this year they have a new motion engine, like I said. So they pretty much just added and dove into the footwork of the game and made it so that when you could tell the difference when you were using a big versus a quick guard. And then later on it goes on to say how they were fixing the stamina meter. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they've said this before. Like 2K19, I promise you, they said they were fixing the stamina meter so you couldn't spam it the whole game long, and they held up to that. You know, certain times when I was playing Rec in 2K19, I do be tired in like the middle of the second quarter. You know, I gotta cool it on a stamina meter. But hopefully this year, I think it was pretty good this year, to be honest. But for 2K20, I think that it should pretty much just stay the same. I thought it was pretty good this year. So that's my thoughts on that. So this next part of the article was pretty much about the ball handling and dribbling for 2K20. So pretty much what it says is that they added in, so when you, I don't know, man, it's like the little things. When dribbling, like the little things about it, like when you're just dribbling around, going off pick and rolls, they made it more realistic and more game-like. And then the next part was pretty much like, this is like amazing. So basically what it says is that there are certain movement packages so that you can tell the difference between fast players like De'Aaron Fox, John Wall, and bigger players like DeMar DeRozan and Kawhi Leonard. But the amazing part is there are a list of styles so that you can put them on your My Career player, so that, you know what I'm saying, like, look at the list. You can move like James Harden, LeBron, Magic Johnson, John Stockton, Allen Iverson, Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, Stephen Curry, Kawhi Leonard. I feel like this is amazing, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, when they make their My Players, they tend to base them off of people that they like to watch in real life or play with in 2K. And if they are able to make their player dribble and move around like this certain player, I feel like that adds a certain piece of realism and customization into the game that is very useful. As you can see, we're still on ball handling, but what this next portion talks about is how this year you can chain together different types and different pieces of different size ups and put them together to make your player move, dribble however you want them to. As you can see, it talks about how James Harden has those crazy between leg crossover moves. I think it'd be really interesting to see if you can do stuff like that, because me personally, I like the way that James Harden dribbles. And it also talks about Kyrie Irving's crazy street ball moves. You know, he puts together random dribble moves, tweens, crosses, behind the back spin moves, whatever you want to say, puts them together, and whatever works for him. And I feel like that's great. That's really good. And as you can see, it touches on right here how over dribbling and trying to perform the wrong moves at the wrong time, I feel like 2K said this last year. Ball handlers were still able to do whatever they wanted, so I don't really know about that part. And next, you see I was talking about how you are going to be able to do Luka Doncic's fake step back and moves like that. And the one that really stood out to me was the fake Sham Hesley by Will Bynum. And in case y'all don't know what this looked like, here y'all go.
Here's a matchup. Gaining steam. Bynum by Taylor.
As y'all can see, you know, that's a pretty crazy move right there. So if I'm able to do stuff like this in 2K20, y'all better watch out, man. But the last part of this section right here talks about how they were adding new stuff to the triple threat game. I don't really know if this is going to be true, because I feel like they said the same thing for 2K19. They were doing all this stuff, the triple threats and all that. Or maybe it's just because people don't really play like that at Park, Pro-Am, or Rec, or whatever. But I think it'd be interesting to see a Carmelo type player cooking it up at the Park. So I guess we'll see how this turns out. Now this part, man, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. This part right here of this article is a little crazy. Pretty much what it's saying is, for defenders, I don't know if you have to be pure lockdown or whatever, but for defenders, when you're guarding the offensive player, sometimes the arrow shows up telling you which way the opponent is about to go with their dribble moves, and I feel like this might be kind of OP because in 2K19, as we all know, lockdowns were pretty OC. You know, long arms, high steal rating, high block rating, high strength. So if someone who normally doesn't have a clue what the offensive player is going to do when they're guarding them, if an arrow pops up and tells them what they're going to do, I feel like that's pretty much a disadvantage to the offensive player. But once again, bro, that is a benefit to being a lockdown. You know, I had a lockdown this year, so this is good news to me. But for y'all ball handlers, I might get a little antsy. And then at the end, it says that a broken line appears under the offensive player. A broken circle appears under the offensive player, and the more broken up the circle, the more vulnerable the ball handler is to losing the ball. So now it's pretty much telling lockdowns when to spam. You know, the more broken up the circle is under the offensive player, the more you can just spam. More than likely, with a high steal rating, you're gonna get the ball. So me as a regular 2K fan, I feel like I have mixed feelings about it, because this might make lockdowns even more OP than they were this year. But as a lockdown, I feel like this is great news, man. Can't wait. Now, this part of the article, I really thought this was crucial. This mainly talked about finishing at the rim and defending at the rim. So for this part, it's pretty much talking about how this year you'll be able to adjust how your player places the ball once you've already started the layup animation. You know, in previous years, no matter what happened, like if you started a layup, then you already have the layup animation. There's nothing that you can do about it. And I feel like this made players like Kyrie Irving sort of unplayable in certain modes, because he's not really realistic. Like in real life, Kyrie Irving is always changing the placement, the spin, whatever you want to call it. He's always changing something about where he puts the layup up on the glass, and that's what makes him special. So pretty much this year, they're saying that you're allowed to do that. So for all you slashers out there, this is pretty good news. You know what I'm saying? This makes our finishing more flashy and more efficient. So people before may have not wanted to make a slasher because they felt like contested layups just aren't going to go in regardless. But now the fate is in their hands. So if you're not making layups in 2K20, it's not because of 2K, it's because of you. You just have to learn, you know, how to move your right stick to place the ball wherever it needs to go in order to go in. And as Newton's third law states, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So you already know if 2K was going to go ahead and give these slashers these crazy layups, they was going to have to do something for the lockdowns and the paint protectors so that they could do something about it. So basically what 2K is saying is that they gave defenders all new blocks and foul animations so that they can still have their presence felt. And lastly, this little part about the post score is pretty much saying how they gave them new back downs, fakes, whatever. They gave them a bunch of new animations, and for the defenders, they gave them all new post body up system that'll help them lock down post moves. And I really hope this is true, because as we all know, in 2K19 post scores were pretty OP, especially when they used to do that little post fade. No matter if you read it perfectly, no matter if you press triangle, it was still going in most of the time. So I hope 2K did something about that to help balance it out. So next we're turning to more of the off the ball portion of the article. So pretty much what they're saying for off the ball is that the offensive player gets brand new cuts, movements, and all that juke moves, and they're pretty much bringing those back so that you can pretty much imitate what the things that the great off-ball players like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson do in real life. And on the defensive side, if you're a strong, quick, fast defender, you can pretty much cut the offensive player off before they make any juke move. You can box them off. So that's pretty much it in the off-ball portion of the article. So next is more on to the AI portion of the article. Pretty much they're saying that the AI's defense this year is better, it's more customizable, so that in transition, you can make the AIs protect the perimeter so there's no threes, or you can make them wall up on downhill players so that they can't get going. Next, there are more player-specific defensive tactics, so you could do things such as what Utah did to James Harden in the playoffs this year. And now there's player-specific takeover awareness, so I'm guessing the AIs realize when a player has takeover so that they know to help out more on that player. So last but certainly not least, we have the badges and the takeover. So basically what 2K is saying right here is that they went in and revamped and tuned some of the badges. So now there's around 80 that allow players to express different strengths in different areas of their game. Now, as you can see, it says they brought back neighborhood specific badges, which as we all know were park badges. I don't know why 2K got rid of them in the first place. I felt like they were great for the game. You know, I love having the bone collector badge, and you can't go wrong with game point either, so I'm glad to see that these are returning in NBA 2K20. And lastly, on the takeover side of things, takeover is officially returning in NBA 2K20 with more content and new features, as it says. And it says 2K's been listening to the feedback from the community, so we all know the post-score takeover was OP. No matter how good of defense you played, you were still getting elbowed and shoved out of the way. So hopefully 2K has done something about this, and post scores will not be as OP as they were last year while in takeover. And so yeah, that pretty much sums up the article. So this is the conclusion of my video. Remember, like, comment, subscribe if you're new to my channel. So alright y'all, man, I'm out. Stay fly.